What's good, everybody? FinerBub here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're talking about volcanoes, smoking pits of doom, waterfalls, of course, and Iceland's sustainable energy power plants and how they get energy and why they are awesome. Coming up right after this. Hello and welcome back to the Iceland series. If you missed last week's video about the only forest we visited in Iceland or this epic waterfall hike that we went on, be sure to check out the link right over here. And if you want to wait till the end of the video, I'll also leave a link in the description below. There's a whole playlist to this series. It doesn't really matter what order you watch them in, so yeah, just feel free to skip around or watch them chronologically. But either way, enjoy the content. Otherwise, without further ado, let us begin! So, as I mentioned in the last video, it's no pony ride to camp in the windy, rainy, coldy weather, and it can sometimes lower the group morale, especially if you're unprepared and don't have proper gear to stay comfortable. I emphasize that point with a high level of enthusiasm. The next morning we woke up and it was freezing. It was so cold. I had to get out of there, get in the car, and we drove up to that campsite the night before and it was just like super foggy and rainy and windy and it was dark, so we couldn't see anything. We knew where we were on the map, but we didn't know what the environment looked like or anything like that. And so the next morning we woke up and we were just like in this like desolate Mordor wasteland of fog and black rock, just gravelly expanse as far as the eye could see, which wasn't very far because it was foggy, but it was just so cold that morning. So we just like had some bars for breakfast or something, some snack bars, and just like jumped in the car, turned on the butt warmers, packed up our campsite, and just like got out of there. Hit the road. No pictures, no nothing, just needed to get out of there. That night we were gonna stay in an Airbnb and we were so excited to get there, but you know, we obviously had to see some things along the way, so we took a little bit of a detour to go see this waterfall that was in the opening scene of Prometheus where that alien melts his body and starts life on Earth. Yeah, so we went to that waterfall. It's called Dettifoss.
That's not a big waterfall.
I guess it's just always raining there because this waterfall just like constantly sprays water up into the air. So yeah, I didn't have my big camera, I just brought my GoPro. And you know, we walked down there, got drenched, took some photos, went back into the car, and then backtracked to the ring road. That was a cool waterfall though. Definitely dramatic and epic, and can totally see why they film movies there. I think Thor 2 also filmed a scene there. There's a link in the article on my website to an article that has a list of all the movies that have been filmed in Iceland and all the locations. There's a lot of volcanic activity in Iceland. It's right on the continental rift between the Eurasian tectonic plate and the North American tectonic plate. So yeah, they get a lot of earthquakes, volcanic activity. activity, stuff like that. So we drove to these smoky Fumaroles, as they're called, and we walked around for a bit, took pictures of that, and then we went up this hill. There was this other area nearby where we could walk along this wooden path, kind of like a wooden bog bridge, but like a little bit more established than a bog bridge, and it just like took you over these lava fields, and it was pouring rain at this point. We were just getting totally soaked. And eventually you get to just these like giant pits of sulfur that like James Bond bad guys get thrown into and stuff like that. And everything smells like rotten eggs. It's kind of crazy. And then you walk around on all of these rocks that look like they were just lava. We just like walked around there in the pouring rain for a while, took in the sights, or as much of it as we could see through the rain. And then we walked back to the car, totally soaking wet, butt warmers. We decided to stop at this power plant, the Krofla power plant. We ended up walking into this little visitor center. They were playing this informational video about Iceland's sustainable energy and how they get 70% from hydro and then 30% from geothermal energy, and like how all of Iceland's electricity is made sustainably from the earthly powers. I mean, it might be the other way around. It might be 70% geothermal and 30% hydro, but either way, they have dams that create electricity from the water that runs off, you know, the glaciers and different rivers and stuff. And then they also have these power plants like the one that we were at, where they're like literally on top of a volcano and they pour water like into the volcano or something like that. And because it's so hot, it just like steams up. And then they have these like wind turbines in these tunnels or something where the steam just goes by, and it's like basically like a wind farm, but with steam that's created by the water that they pour on these lava fields. So yeah, they basically just make electricity out of volcanoes. And so yeah, we sat there for a little while, we warmed up, drinking some coffee, and we kept watching this video on loop that would play in like 10 different languages. So that was really cool to learn. You know, I was never really good at science class, but learning about this stuff, it's like very tangible, so it's just conceptually easier to digest. And since we were actually in the place, I don't know, I found it really fascinating. And you know, it's great that they're using sustainable energy to power their country. According to people like Elon Musk, the entire world could be powered by just the sun that like hits Rhode Island or something like that. We have all of this amazing potential for unlimited electricity and energy that we're just not using, and it's nice to see that there's a country like Iceland that's taking advantage of these types of things. And you know, they do get sun, but it's cloudy there a lot, but they have rivers and they have volcanoes, so they're just like taking advantage of that, and that's so cool. We got back in the car after that, kept driving because, you know, we wanted to get to our Airbnb so we could freaking do laundry and charge our camera batteries and charge my laptop and clear the memory cards and stuff like that. From there we drove to another epic waterfall called Godafoss, and this one's super famous. This is one of the places where I just got very low resolution video because I tried doing it on my old point and shoot camera. In retrospect, I should have just used my phone, but didn't. Here it is. It is what it is, but it was a really cool place. Definitely a cool waterfall. Definitely get a little wet, and it's one of those places that photographers just flock to just because it's such an epic looking scene. And it really wasn't until afterwards, when I got home, that I realized that Iceland is such a mecca for landscape photographers. I was like looking through my photos, and I would just search something like how to make my photo look awesome or something like that, and then the first thing would come up would be like a tutorial that was in a place that I was just in, and I was like, wait a second, I have a picture of this. Why is his so much better than mine? The f-stop and the ISO have to line up with the shutter speed and all this stuff. I wish I had known this before, but you need to get excited about the thing before you learn about it. I never would have taken the time to learn that stuff before because I had no interest in it, because there was no context. And so just like creating the context, going to epic places, seeing beautiful stuff, it just like gets you so pumped. Man, like I have learned so much since then because of this trip, because of just the crazy learning adventure that it sent me on. You know, sometimes, especially for me, it's very hard to internalize the importance of learning something specific if I don't have an application for it that I'm motivated to achieve beforehand. So yeah, inspire yourself, get out there, have fun, and don't try to teach yourself something you're not interested in. Find the reason why you need to learn it and get excited about that, and that will really help you understand the boring stuff and understand the reason behind the boring stuff. I know, like, this isn't a photography channel, but making these videos is getting me into that stuff, so I'm just trying to bring you along on the journey with me. Anyway, after Godafoss, we continued driving towards our Airbnb, and we went through this tunnel that like went through a mountain, which was pretty cool. And we popped out on the other side in this fjord across from this town, Akureyri, which was probably the nicest town we visited the whole time. There were a couple in the Snæfellsnes Peninsula that were also really nice, but this was really isolated. It was probably the farthest town that we went to from Reykjavik, so you didn't get as much of the tourism crowds that you get everywhere else, and that was a nice break for us. Before we went there, we just drove along this fjord, and like the sun finally came out after we had just experienced like a day and a half of rain and cloudiness, and we just saw such epic scenes. You know when people take pictures and like put like captions about God in them? Like these were those pictures. Like it was just like the beam of sunlight coming through the hole in the clouds, just illuminating the water and the mountains, and it was just like, oh, like, mwah. After that, we drove our butt-warming mobile to our Airbnb that was just like on this gradual sloping hill leading down to the fjord, and it was just beautiful. I finally got to take a shower and do laundry, and it was just like, thank you. Thank you for warmth and dry clothes. We needed it at that point, and you know, it's not like we couldn't have handled doing more exhausting things, but you want to enjoy yourself. We were on vacation, and yeah, it was just such a relief. And yeah, that's the end of this one. Takeaways that you can benefit from this video: save the planet Earth, make your electricity out of volcanoes or sunshine, depending on your preference and your environment. Number 2, bring a rain jacket, bring a rain shell. You'll get wet and you'll be happy you have it. Number 3, rent a car with butt warmers. So key. Butt warmers are essential. Also, stay in this Airbnb that I am superimposing over this wax on, wax off situation that I've found myself doing right now. If you have any questions about this video, or any comments about any of the things I mentioned, or anything like that, please leave them in the comment box below. If you've been to Iceland and you did these things or things in the area, I'd love to hear about them, hear about your experiences. I really think that would benefit people who want to learn from these videos, and it'll benefit me as well, because I definitely want to go back to Iceland, definitely want to experience more of it. Just want to foster a conversation, just a positive feedback loop of information between me and you. Yeah, hope we can all learn and benefit from that. If you felt like you got something useful out of this video, if you enjoyed it, you felt entertained, please share it with your friends on social media and anyone else who you know is thinking about taking a trip to Iceland. Subscribe to the channel. That's what I forgot to say. Subscribe, red subscribe, and hit the bell. Anyway, do all the things I just said. For more information on the places we visited and a full list of the gear we brought with, be sure to check out the full article at FinerBub.com/Iceland. Alrighty people, once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. If you're planning your next trip, don't let the small details stress you out. Remember, life's an adventure, so relax, breathe in the outdoors, and don't forget to appreciate the finer things in life. See you out there, people. Peace.